talked about the great importance of sharing images and also the huge importance of communities online. And Instagram combines those two things so powerfully. So the sharing photos and out of the sharing photos is growing a real sense of community. Instagram is an incredibly important platform. I heard this again and again talking to people in the industry. Someone was talking about this morning. He said, for all of our younger clientele, anyone under 30, under 25, the backpacking offers so easy to reach them and engage with them. And something we see a lot when we both working with destinations, businesses, and local businesses. There's a huge popularity of Instagram, particularly in the younger market, and it's becoming a very strongly growing community. So we're going to get out from Gareth Bond, who's the head of the Instagram community here in South Africa. He's going to talk about Instagram as a platform and the local community here at Instagram. So please welcome head of the Instagram community, Mr. Gareth Bond.
Whoa, look at this thing. Have any of you seen this? It's like a full-on bomb device or something. If it explodes, I apologize. Okay, so yeah, thank you for being here. Thanks for the opportunity to speak again, Damien. When he called me back, I was like, yes, I must have said something right last year. So thanks for having me again. So today I wanted to talk about understanding the Instagrammer. The biggest mistake that a lot of local people make is that they see Instagram and they think, okay, cool, it's just another social media platform. Let's just do what we're doing on Facebook and Twitter, duplicate our Instagram accounts, and then voila, we'll get followers and we'll pick up likes and all that stuff. You're wrong. Don't do that ever again. If you do, I will comment on your photo and say, this sucks, please be original. You guys can laugh, by the way. So, just by show of hands, views on Instagram in the first capacity. Wow, that's awesome. I did that last year, and I think like 10 people put their hands up. In your business capacity? Cool. And who has more than 100 followers? 200 followers? 500 followers? 1,000 followers? 10,000 followers? 100,000 followers? 150,000 followers? How many of you posted a selfie? Good for you. So, I'm just going to go through these 7 things, starting off with the intro, the misconception of Instagram, the Instagrammer, the Instameet, a few international examples, and finally, 5 steps to Instagram. And I've actually swapped that single moment film just after community, so you'll see that before we get there. Whoa, what happened there? So, just a bit of introduction. My name is Gareth Bond. You're welcome to mention me anywhere with the same handle. I like to be consistent around all platforms. 186,000 followers on Instagram, 1,486 photos, accumulated 1.5 million likes, 43,000 comments accumulated all over my photos. This keeps jumping backwards, it's not right. And on the left there, that's my most liked photo, and that's my second most liked photo. Over 5,000 likes in each. The worst thing you can do is limit Instagram to the average mirror selfie. So we know Instagram for these things. And I apologize if one of these are your photos. I did just Google a hashtag and pulled the first one that came up. So if one of yours are there, I apologize in advance. But we know Instagram for food, cats, sunsets, and Justin Bieber and Mr. From Good Game. You are the only 2 people on Instagram who I think are allowed to post selfies. Instagram is actually a pencil that allows the average person to sketch pictures from around the world. It's done the magical thing of bridging the gap between passion and social. It has 200 million active users, 65% of them are out of the US, 20 billion photos shared in total, 1.6 billion likes a day, 60 million average photos posted a day. These are stats straight from Facebook's account. You can go look them up and find more about it there. And the Instagrammer is the average Jane or Joe who has discovered that they can actually take a nice photo. So it's people who've come along, never had the opportunity to use a DSLR, or maybe like a point and shoot, or they've never been able to afford it or something, but then they magically bought the smartphone that allows them to take, I keep saying that, I'm sorry. It keeps allowed them to take a photo that some cameras couldn't take a few years ago. So all of us walk around with these phones, with 8 megapixel cameras, 20 megapixel cameras, 42 megapixel cameras, and we suddenly have this ability to share moments in our life that can be magical. So these are some photos that I took on my recent trip to Europe. I went to London, Berlin, France, Switzerland, Amsterdam. I spent about 3 weeks there, and these are all shots that I took on my mobile device. We'll post it to Instagram. If you want to check out more of the hashtags, you can check it out there. This is somebody in London, Miss Underground. She will make you fall in love with London's Underground. She decided to take a different perspective. She waits for the underground tubes to be empty. Sometimes she'll wait up to an hour to get a shot. Sorry guys, I don't know why I keep saying that. And she just manages to capture each and every tunnel in a way that almost feels sci-fi, which is pretty amazing. And the reason I'm showing you guys this is that there are people all over the world who are showing off their countries and showing off their locations in unique ways like this. And it's actually, it's created this new culture called the Instagrammer. Like, I've met people who title themselves as Instagrammers. And it's become this new emerging culture all over the world where people are figuring out, actually I'm a bit creative. Like, I may be selling like real estate or doing accounting or that, but I can actually take a nice photo when I'm walking down the streets of Berlin and there's somebody who gives me a bit of an interesting perspective for a street photography shot. So this has sparked a passion for creativity, and it's also given people the ability to share that passion. And then the result of that is that passion is responded to by other Instagrammers all over the world. Guys like I'll show you some more accounts now, but you get feedback straight from international people, straight from local people, all within an instant. And that's what Instagram has sort of created all over the world. This is a girl from Switzerland. It's her username, kitkat_ch, and she goes hiking a heck of a lot. If you think that you've done Lion's Head or Table Mountain and you got up there in a record time, you got nothing on this girl. Like, she hikes up different mountains every month. Every weekend she'll take her car, a little Fiat 500. Honestly, don't know why it's doing that. I'm not even touching it. But she'll drive that little car around, set that up in different locations, take amazing photos, and she'll share them with the world. And the only reason I actually went to Switzerland, besides to visit her, was to go hiking with her. Before that, I had no desire in the world to go to Switzerland. This is Mario Francisca from Amsterdam. Charles will tell us a bit more about Amsterdam in his presentation, but she gives an amazing perspective of little hidden gems that are scattered around Amsterdam. It's one of my top 3 most favorite countries, and cities. And oh, geez. So I hold this in like a certain way. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. That's me. Yeah, so just to give you a little bit more background, so I'm not in any way hired by Instagram. I'm not in any way, they don't pay me a salary. Everything I've done with the Instagrammers community has been out of people volunteering, out of their passion for Instagram. It's people who have discovered that photography is something that they're interested in. So they drive micro communities all around South Africa. They do regular things called Insta-meets, which I'll tell you a bit more when I get back to the presentation. And it's been really amazing because it's allowed me to meet people all around the world. On my recent trip, in those 3 weeks to Europe, I stayed with other people who I met through Instagram, and that was it. Like, it's given me the ability to gain access to worlds that I've never known before. A little confession. so I'll just carry on here, is that I had no interest in traveling whatsoever until 2012. Whatsoever. I was happy to stay in South Africa and get a really good job, maybe start a business, and just chill here and build up a lot of money and buy cool stuff and watch big TVs and all that technological devices that people have in their pockets. And Instagram was actually the thing that sparked that passion to want to travel. I've planned after next week, I'm away till mid-November traveling, seeing places, working remotely, doing a bit of talks here and there, and that's what Instagram's done, not only for me, but thousands of people. So I'm just, yeah, okay, let me continue. So, Mara Francisca, she is a creative, but she's not a photographer. She's not a trained photographer, but she allowed Instagram to show Amsterdam in a way that people usually wouldn't see before. She's got a really great perspective. The next slide is a little bit about the Instameet. The Instameet is a catalyst for the Instagrammer to take photos and show off. As simple as that. If you provide the location for an Instagrammer to meet, take photos, get together, enjoy the space that they're in, and give them photo opportunities, they will do so. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the Instagrammer's community locally. If you want to read up more about it, you can go to that website. But in early 2013, it was founded in all the major cities all over South Africa. And in those cities, there were an average of, on the first Instameets, an average of between 20 to 50 people who rocked up at those Instameets. And those guys are continually now taking photos of their city and selling their city to the world through their followers. We now have just recently launched Iggers Overberg, Iggers UCT. We're launching doing a relaunch in Iggers Pretoria, discovering like all the rad changes they're doing there. Like they're digging up their old tram rails just to reveal a bit of the heritage, and things like that are happening where we're able to capture on Instagram and just show off. So these are photos from Instameets that have happened all around the world. Pretty cool. Like that middle one's called the Deadstagram, and that's when people obviously lie down and play dead and take a photo. And it's pretty cool. That's a group dumpstergram or a levitation gram, and that's a puddlegram on the left there. That's one Instameet we had in Johannesburg. And that's one from it might be Russia or somewhere. But these are all Instameets that have happened all around the world. So the next question would be, why would you want to organize an Instameet? Why would you want to... Sorry guys, I don't know what's doing there. Hold on. Why would you want to organize an Instameet? So if you think about it, like, people want to get together, people want to see each other, people want to meet all the time. You always want to be like, okay, let's go out for drinks, let's go out and get a meal or get a burger or somewhere. But there's a certain group of people who want to go out and create something. And Instameets give the Instagrammer that platform to go out and create. But not only that, it gives them the opportunity to just appreciate their city again. The reason why I started organizing Instameets, Roy is also in the room, is that we just wanted to capture Joburg again in a new light. The Joburg city has a very negative connotation to it. Oh, don't go there, people will rob you, you'll get shot, you'll get mugged. And part of doing Instameets was to sort of break that mentality. And there's a lot of really cool places in Joburg. People have come to us after these Instameets and said that the photos that we produce out of these Instameets are the best photos that they have of the city of Johannesburg. And it's beautiful to hear that, because it's not some professional photographer going out taking these photos. It's not someone who's been hired. It's not somebody who has like an amazing apartment in Joburg with an amazing vantage point. It's each and every person who has decided, actually, like, I want to step out, capture a bit of Joburg that actually breaks that mentality of it being this really bad city. And out of that, that's where the community developed. We recently had an Insta meet at FNB Stadium. Over 200 people rocked up, and I made this little short film.
Oh, made up of single moment. Instagram has taught me about my city and the people in it.
So it's great being around people who love what you love and have fun doing it. That's another level of greatness.
Amazing group of visual storytellers who have now become my closest friends.
People that are a bit weird, a little bit different, people that are carefree. These are people I can relate to and call my friends.
I've been compelled to appreciate everything around me, forging new relationships from near and far.
Instagram lets me tell my story and participate in other people's stories.
Bunch of strangers getting together on given dates to take photos, and any spring showing how I've grown from picture taker into picture maker.
Snippets of emotion that light up one square at a time. How I choose to present them and how I freely choose to share them.
Instagram propels me into life and revitalized my creative spirit.
Shooting on your phone creates an open space for creativity.
Instagram is an app so small that you can keep it in the palm of your hand, yet it's so big that you have access to the whole world. Who would have thought that an app like this would bring so many people together? You guys can go to my website if you want to watch it again. It is online. It is available. If you go to garethpond.com, it's there. Also, if you go to instagrammers.ca.za, there's a whole lot of films that have been made just documenting how amazing the local community is. Next up, I just want to talk more about a few international examples. So, if given the opportunity, the Instagrammer will post a photo. So, I just want to go through a few examples. Explore Canada did a really cool campaign. That's their Instagram account, their web version. They brought out 4 Instagrammers recently. Heroes, 261,000 followers. Hango Delish, 335,000 followers. PKtron, 836,000 followers. And Curious2109, 605,000 followers. Accumulated following of 203 million people. Can anyone put their hand up and tell me you've done a campaign that's reached 203 million people? Cool. And that was really cool. They did a trip through Canada, took photos, went in a helicopter, did a bit of a road trip here and there, experienced the city, and they just showed the city off to all their followers in association with Explore Canada. And it's really cool because innovative campaigns are happening like this on Instagram. Another example is Come See Turkey. They currently have 87,000 followers on their Instagram account. And they did a campaign where they had 2 routes that were marked out that basically saw the entire Turkey. And they brought out 20 Instagrammers, and they were led by a local photographer within Turkey. And the collective reach of those 20 Instagrammers was 10 million people. So the one guy had 830,000 followers. And that's sort of the range of the guys that they brought out. All of these people were from 13 different countries, and they visited 23 cities and covered 7,000 kilometers. If you want to go check that out, you can go to comeseeturkey.org, and you can get a bit, just read up more about it. I'm not going to go through it. It's a whole other presentation. So I just want to go through a few points. First one is, the Instagram is not a travel blogger. The biggest mistake that a lot of local guys have been making is they just put the Instagram on with the travel bloggers. Nothing wrong with travel bloggers at all. They're amazing. But Instagrammers don't think like travel bloggers. We're not going to write a 500-word blog post about a lunch that we had at a restaurant. We're not going to write a 20-word essay about the train trip we had from this city to that one. But if you take us on that train ride and there's 400 photo opportunities, I guarantee you that we will post every single one of those photos. To the point where the travel blogger will take their time, they'll write the post, they'll take photos as well, of course. But the Instagrammer will take their time, and they won't even necessarily write a caption, but they'll edit that photo until it looks perfect. The next point is create photo opportunities. So I've mentioned it already. The Instagrammer may take 100 photos, but only post one. But the more opportunity you give them, the more you cater for an Instagrammer to take beautiful photos, the more photos they'll post from that excursion or that campaign. Next one is, remember location is key and consider the time of the day. So most of the guys are quite finicky about time of day. Certain guys won't go out unless it's like sunrise or sunset. So keep that in mind. Don't organize an event midday where the light's really harsh, or during a time where people look really bad in life, so that sort of thing. So consider the time of day. Cater for that as well. We usually organize Insta meets during golden hour, which is an hour before or after sunset or sunrise. 4 is, most Instagrammers only have a mobile device, or at most one enabled Wi-Fi device. So the easier you make it to take a photo, the better. A good example of that is if you plan out a route or an exploration route where the Instagrammer will go out, take a few photos. Sorry guys. If you plan a route where there's several stops along the way, and on that route, only 3 out of those, say, like 7 stops are photo opportunities, they'll only post photos from those spots. So keep in mind that we don't have access to, most of the guys don't have access to big DSLRs or zoom lenses. Some of them do, but majority of them don't. We want to create an experience where you can walk up to the action, or you can walk up to the scenery and take a photo with your phone, like everyone wants to do nowadays. And if you do experiences, make sure you provide 2 things. The one is GoPros, if the Instagrammers don't have, and the second is the ability to post that. So either someone who's edited that GoPro clip, given it to the Instagrammer so they can post it to their feed, or given them the option to take it home, do it themselves at home. So that's also a very good important thing to keep in mind. And lastly is just the curation of various things. So firstly, curate your personal account, your business account. A lot of you put up your hands for your business account, that's great. And then secondly, your local presence. Your local presence extends by doing things like Insta Meets, cultivating the existing local Instagram community, and giving them the opportunity to share what you may have. So if you run like a hiking tour, give them that opportunity to go on your hiking tour. Pull them up and organize it on the weekend, because most of them have 9-to-5 jobs. And that local presence will ultimately develop into a space where as soon as somebody browses that hashtag from your city or from your location, all they'll see is beautiful photos. And then the extension of that is that their followers will see that, and you'll have people from all around the world wanting to come and visit your spot. The next one is go international. So I showed a few of international guys in those campaigns, and the best way that I've seen so far all around is guys who have curated various Instagrammers from different cities, brought them to their local space, and allowed them to appreciate the city and share that with their followers. So that's the end of my presentation, and I just want to leave you guys with one thing, is that if you get someone to an Instameet, get an Instagrammer, or someone who's not even an Instagrammer, to an Instameet, allow them to experience your city and your place, they'll come back, they'll get hooked, and if you continue to do that, they'll find a passion for photography, but also sharing that photography. Thank you. Are there any questions? Is there time for questions?
There is. Let me just grab a mic for those questions. Where are those questions? Make them close. Okay. No, it's all right.
So if you go to the website, or if you wanted to see if one does exist, go to, it's IDRS, and then the name of the city, so Igers Cape Town, or Igers Cape Town. No one in the world knows how to pronounce it properly, because the Spanish guy started the national community. And you? Okay. If you're using an iPhone, you can use iMovie. Are you talking mobile or mobile? iMovie is free now on the newer versions of iOS. And Android, I can't remember the exact name, but I know Samsung has a built-in movie editor on their phones, which you can use. And then the best way is to use apps that do the editing while you're shooting. I mean, Instagram does that really well. The tricky thing is if you want to start adding music. So the best way to do it is use an app that you can shoot consecutive scenes and then bring it into an app to add music on it, if that makes sense. So another tip on video, if you are going to post a video, make sure you use a cover photo that looks like a photo, because it won't get the response that a photo will unless you do that. So just for example, if you say like filming a time lapse of the sunset, then use the cover photo that looks like it's a sunset. Does it make sense? Mm. Cool.
Right here. Well, actually, first, and then I'll come to you.
I was just wondering if you can tell us more about Hyperlapse.
Hyperlapse. What more do you want to know about it?
So it's a new product of Instagram, right?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how you can kind of incorporate it, because I've used it once or twice, and it's kind of difficult to keep from going out of the building into direct sunlight.
Yeah.
And, that also.
So while you're shooting, you can adjust the exposure by just tapping the screen. A lot of guys are using it. The Totem blog, just Google it. Totem blog actually launched a blog post, I think it was yesterday, on the top hyperlapse videos that have been made so far. 3 of them were made by Disney, and the way that they've been using it is just to document all the rigs in Disneyland. So they did one of all those really cool teapot turning things. They did one of like a roller coaster. They did like a walk through, I think, through Disneyland. Personal experience, the best way that I found to use it is walkthroughs. So it's really cool because something that would have costed you close to 100,000 Rand to do before is now on your cell phone, which is pretty awesome. And you can walk around and give like almost like a mini tour of, say like if you've got a hotel or a guest house, you can give a mini tour of your experience just using Hyperlapse. It's just really cool. I've seen a lot of guys putting music over their hyperlapses, which helps a lot. You're looking at about between 60 and 70% of your experience of a video is through the music. So if you can and don't quote me on that. That was what I've read. It could be like an inaccurate stat. But putting music on videos is really important. Does that answer your question?
Question?
I just wanted to know, can you have 2 Instagram accounts, or can you only have one? How does that work?
So you can have 2, you just can't manage multiple accounts through an app. There's a lot of third-party apps that you can do, and also online web services that you can use. Things like Iconosquare, Gramfeed, things like that, which you can use to comment and like. Likes are sort of temperamental at the moment, but you can use those to manage the entire account except for posting. So if you do want to post a photo from various accounts, you need to log in and out to do that.
One more? We'll take one last question. Hang on, just over. I'll stick it.
Hi. Gareth, what is the copyright issue with this? So, for example, if a corporate wants to use one of the photographs for a commercial campaign?
From my personal research, maybe you will know better on this, but from what I did after that announcement was made, is I went and I scrutinized it quite highly, but from what I understood, that new terms and conditions just basically gives Instagram the permission to repost and share your photos without getting your permission. So they're not going to open up a stock image library and start selling your photos. They're not going to start selling printing photos and all of that. So the photo still belongs to the user who posts it, and they've also set up copyright infringement forms online now. So if somebody does steal your photo or reposts your photo as themselves, you can actually fill in an online form, and within 48 hours that image is removed. So that's really cool. And just on that note, please don't repost someone's photo without asking them first. It's a bit of Instagram etiquette. It's very rude. It's like me driving your car without you letting me. Yeah. Thanks.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you. Oh, sorry. One last question.
How do you rebrand? How
So-
do you rebrand?
Sorry. Can we just get that the mic so everyone can hear in the room?
Good question. How do you rebrand?
Okay, so with Instagram we call them features.
Yeah.
Features or shoutouts. That's sort of the 2 key words. Traditional steps you would take is you ask the person first if you can rebrand their photo. Then you can either ask them to send it to you or screen capture it. And then you need to take that photo, and if you want to give credit to the person, you can overlay like their username on it or something, and then you simply just post it. But yeah, like there are apps out there, but if you want to curate your account with a bit of precision and a bit of finesse, it's better to almost regram a photo by putting a bit of your own branding on it. If that makes sense. So if you look through a few of the IGGA's accounts, you'll see some of them have text of the person and like a little title that says Instagram feature, something like that.
Cool. Great. Well, thank you again, Gareth.
Thanks.
And I believe Gareth will be back as part of our panel of bloggers this afternoon. As I said, we're going to have both of our panels this afternoon. So we'll be talking with Gareth and other bloggers who've worked with South African tourism about the Meet South Africa campaign. Before we get into that, though, we want to look at the implications of all this for destinations and how destinations are using all this to market countries as a whole, or cities or regions as a whole. We're going to hear from 2 destinations. Before we hear from South Africa, we're very pleased to have with us Charles from Amsterdam Tourism. He's the digital manager for Amsterdam, who's done an amazing and highly acclaimed job of really giving a social face and presence to a city as a destination via their campaign, which is simply called I Amsterdam, literally turning the city into giving that human face access via social media to the world. So please welcome the digital manager from Amsterdam Tourism, Mr. Charles van Dam.
Thank you so much, and it's very nice actually to be in Cape Town. I was here about 11 years ago, and I had an amazing time with my mom. We lost all our pictures but 5, and back then we were not able to share it or log it anywhere.
So those are memories that are in here. It was also nice to get a little bit of perspective, local perspective from Fusi this morning when he was talking about how happy he was with the process in Amsterdam of getting your ID, because 30 minutes for us slightly anal Northwest Europeans is way too long. After 5 minutes we go, what's up, civil servant? Why aren't you moving? So next time I will be in line and I will just take my 30 minutes and be happy with it. Before I get started on talking about what we do in Amsterdam with social media, I just wanted to ask a few questions. So who has not been to Amsterdam? Oh, shame on you. By all means, this is not a story that I'm going to tell to convince you to go to Amsterdam, because I'm convinced that if you are attracted to the product, you will eventually go anyway. The other question is, are there any DMOs in the room?
DMOs, destination.
A few. And DMOs are destination marketing organizations. Any of you that work with DMOs? Yeah. Okay. Anyone that's very happy working with DMOs? Okay, that's good. We're talking about rethinking travel. And one of these things that I always enjoy with these conferences is that I go home and I feel like a failure. And usually that's because I hear these people from Twitter, from Google, people talk about Instagram. We haven't heard from some of the other channels, but there's so much that we need to do in marketing our product. It's a little daunting, a little dazzling. So one last question that I have for you is, who here thinks that they're doing an amazing job with their social media? There's one here, two, okay. I want to talk to you later after the show because I might be able to learn something from you. Because one of the things that we've traditionally done as a DMO is that we go to these conferences and we're like, yeah, let's do this. We'll do Instagram, we'll do WeChat, we'll do anything that they tell us to do, because we heard yesterday from all of them, it's free. It's free. Yes, it's free to actually get an account. After that, you pay. So I'm not to say that I don't like any of them. I like all of them, and I wish I could, but too often, and that's what I will be talking about today, is that it's kind of tough to do all of it, so you might want to consider making choices. So that's rethinking social Amsterdam. I started at Amsterdam Marketing a year and a half ago and was confronted with a massive amount of social media channels, and we did a few things to make it turn out for the better. I wanted to start off with this one, and there are two reasons for this. One, it's meant for William and Helena, who's not here, because the three of us have a tendency to do weird stuff in the water. So with Helena, when we were in Finland, we actually went ice hole swimming. In Finland, it's kind of cold. A few days ago with William, we went shark cage diving, so I'm actually inviting both of them, actually all of you, next time if you're in Amsterdam, we'll go and do this. The second reason is this is one of our most successful posts in the last few months. And it actually reached almost 1.5 million people, which I think is actually pretty cool for just a single post. Because really look at it. It's a bunch of pasty people sitting in a bubble bath in lovely water, and the sun's not even shining. But apparently people like it, and the reason why they like it is because it has so much to do with Amsterdam, and so much to do with the real product of the city, and it has to do with what we're doing these days with social media, involved and engaged in the content that we use. I thought it would probably be fitting to explain a little bit of the Dutch tourism market. This is what the country looks like. We get about 11 million people every year that visit the Netherlands, which is the official name of the country. About 50% of those people will actually go to Amsterdam. About 70% will go to the metropolitan area of Amsterdam, which means that the city of Amsterdam and its surroundings is very, very important for the entire product of the country itself. €1 billion business,
but because it's only 5% of GDP, it's not necessarily deemed very interesting to national and local government. So we are a GMO that does not get a lot of money. We, as a GMO, cater to locals, to visitors, and businesses alike, and try and create one product that actually fits all of these target groups that we focus on. And I know we talk about digital, and I know we talk about social media, but I do want to share one of the most successful marketing initiatives that we've done in Amsterdam. And it was not very expensive. It was just getting a few letters out on one of the busiest squares that we have. These are the I Amsterdam letters. If you just Google I Amsterdam, you look for images, there are tons and tons of images. It's on Instagram, it's exploding as well. And it's nothing more than just the brand name in a good spot. And people climb on it, take pictures. It's one of the most asked questions in our tourism offices. Where are the letters? It's become an attraction on its own. And it's interesting because people take pictures these days, and therefore your brand will actually go all over the world. Very effective, very cheap, easy to copy. Go ahead and do it. It really will bring you a lot of benefit. Now, my life looks a little bit like this. My boss comes to me and says, you know, bring me the world. And he doesn't actually say it like that. He says, bring me the wereld. And he says, here's €1, because we don't have a lot of money. Please, all of our partners, and we have 1,200 of them, and let's make it go viral. And I was like, let's make it go viral. Really? You know it doesn't work like that. No. Let's make it viral. Okay. We're making a viral. So that's my life. I'm sort of perfectly happy with it. And I got thinking a little bit about what our path of social media has been, and sort of thinking about South Africa, thinking about wild animals, and I actually got the idea that we actually had an ostrich development curve when it comes to social media. Step one was ignore it even existed, because that's what we do. It's new, it's different, we don't know how to handle it, so we just ignore it. Second stage is that we sort of had a few initiatives, a little bit clumsy, stomping around a little bit, then we ballooned into a gazillion channels, and now we're finally slowly finding our way up and on the amount of time and money that we have. Sometimes it feels like it's the opposite, but I think the great news about social media is that you cannot afford all of it anyway. Don't try. Really, why would you? Focus and engage. Really, I'm not going to say it's that simple, but it's that simple. I saw a lot of people putting hands up on Instagram accounts. I don't think a lot have actually been over 1,000. Really think also about what you're doing with those channels. If you and putting in time, and I'm not necessarily talking about Instagram, but are you sure you want to be on that channel, or do you want to focus on other things that you're doing and maximizing that? Maybe a question for you. If you had the choice of doing a campaign, would you rather do the one on the left, where you had a lot of publications, small ad, or would you do the one on the right? Right? Left? Right. Okay. What we were doing at Amsterdam Marketing, we were doing the left one. When I started there, we had about 26 social media channels. There were 10 Facebook channels, we had 8 Twitter channels, we had Instagram, we had Pinterest, we had Foursquare, and nobody uses Foursquare in Holland. And all these channels that we had, and we had about 100,000 fans. A year and a half later, we had 5 channels left, and we have 750,000 fans. I only have one person in my office who can handle or can do social media, because it's not also about just having a person, but it's also just having a person who's able to understand what they need to be doing. Just one person. So what we did is actually we changed a lot of, we rethought social, and we changed a lot of what we did. It wasn't easy because a lot of people were very attached to all these channels, because we had a very specific channel for this, we had a very specific channel for that, product X, Y, Z. We even had a channel for what we call the I Amsterdam card specialist. just a city pass, a Facebook page, and like, who would be a fan of a page that's called the I Amsterdam Card Specialist? It doesn't bring you anything. There's no engagement. So as an industry, we really didn't think about social media. We didn't understand it. We just went along and just did it. And we now see it's just thinking about what you need to do with social media, understanding how it works, thinking before you actually do it, is actually getting us kind of getting success. And also why we get these posts that actually get viewed by 1.5 million people. So in social media, there's no one size fits all. There really isn't. And a lot of times I get asked by the local travel trade, so tell me what you need to do, tell me what I need to do. Well, I cannot tell you what you need to do because it really depends on what your product is. But the thing is that authenticity is a key driver of social success. It's about you, it's about your product. It's not about what you think your product needs to be, but it's about what your product is and how your customers actually view your product. For Amsterdam, it's a couple of things, but one of the major ones is bicycles. I mean, if you've been to Amsterdam, that's what you see. I mean, I don't see it anymore. I drive on my bike every morning, 10 minutes to work, and I don't see what's special about it. But when people come to visit Amsterdam, they either love it or they're scared of it because bicycles go really, really fast and they do not get out of the way. If you are there as a tourist and you're in the way, they just run you over. So yeah, it happens. I'm sorry. So the people that actually like us on social media are in love with bicycles, among others. So what we do is we give them bicycles. Even better, bicycles with animals and bicycles with kids on it. Because that always works best. I think I would love to have babies on the bicycle because that works even better, or cats, but I don't see that too often enough. And it works as well because what you see is this is actually what's going on in Amsterdam every day. You also see in the comments additional posts that people have made because they've spotted a mother with 3 kids on a bike, and all the Americans go, "How irresponsible!" But it's how it works for us. And one of the other things is what we get back from a lot of people that visit us is that they enjoy the quality of life in Amsterdam. Some say it's the weed, but others say it's just a nice pace of life. It's not too quick. It's not too fast. And here is someone I think sums it up pretty well. It says, "I live here in a household with my dog. We love it, like heaven with a bit more rain." A lot more rain, but still, a lot of people really like Amsterdam. For what it is and like the quality of life. So what we do is we give them back quality of life, images, posts, and everything else, because that's what resonates with a lot of people that like us. And really, all you have to do is engage because your fans are really, really nuts about you. Sometimes if I'm sort of done with my job, my boss comes back, just go to our Facebook page, and I'm mostly talking about Facebook now, and I look at the comments. Because these people that are a fan of us are so happy with us as a destination. I don't necessarily understand it all the time, but they are really happy. For example, Patty Jackson. Patty Jackson actually hurts at this moment because she's not in Amsterdam. And I don't, by the way, Adam is an abbreviation for Amsterdam. It hurts not being there. And I don't necessarily understand, but she actually feels that it hurts. And there's so many other people that apparently have fallen in love with the city that they want to share this as a comment. And there's 16 people that actually like it that Patty Jackson is hurting, which is interesting. A lot of what we do is reposting what we get from our fans. I would say a minimum of 75% of what we post is being posted to our wall by our fans. It's not us that is the channel, it's the fans that make the channel. So what we do, we always thank the person for putting up the photo and tag whoever was in the photo as well. Some people are professional photographers who are very happy to add a few very nice pictures of our destination, but other people just made, like you see here in the middle, made some artwork about Amsterdam. We repost this because we're very, very thankful for the effort that they actually go through in creating this. And we're also very happy that we don't have to come up with these posts ourselves. So it makes it a little bit easier. But that's one of the things that we continuously do is give back. You know, when people give something to us, we like to broadcast it to the world and to the fans. And that's why they keep coming back and giving us more. We recently reached 500,000 fans on our international Facebook page. And this is what someone actually made, thanks to 500,000. I thought it was kind of funny. I think it's not very attractive, but it doesn't really matter because someone actually took a lot of time and sort of pasted all these pictures into one giant picture. All these pictures of Amsterdam. The marketing and branding team came over to me and asked what the hell I was doing because this was not in line with iAmsterdam branding, and we should have done this very, very, very differently. Ignore them. If someone comes to you and says, this is not according to sort of brand guidelines, it doesn't matter because it's social media. It's not us. We're not in control. Let it go. So my boss, again, and it is very important to me apparently, he's about big numbers. And I understand that because he has to report to people who only understand big numbers. And that's one of the difficult things when working in digital media and social media is that the higher you go, the less understanding there is of what it actually means. And in a way, it should be like that because the big bosses are supposed to sort of run the entire company. They're not supposed to be minding the small details. However, I'm actually looking at the second number, like you see here down below, the percentage. We look at our page in terms of engagement. So we're very much looking that everything that we do, everything that we post, contributes to having a good engagement, because otherwise it wouldn't show up in the newsfeed anyway. And we want to actually make sure that we bring something that actually works for the community. So here are a few comparisons, which actually has a few interesting facts in it. So what you see from left to right is Visit Berlin, Love Great Britain, Visit London, Tourism Queensland, New York City, iAmsterdam, and Australia.com. Some of these are big names in the tourism industry, especially also in Europe. The Love Great Britain, they have a lot of money. But look at their interaction level. It's only 2.4%. So apparently what they're doing is not necessarily always that engaging. Berlin has a huge following, 1.7 million people, but they have a 0.6% engagement score. So it's they have a lot of fans, but they're not really reaching a lot of fans. There's also sometimes a little bit of a myth. You see these statistics on online, and that say, if you have a large audience, if you have like millions of people that like your page, it's impossible to get good engagement. It just goes downhill the bigger you get. But look at Australia.com. Almost 6 million people that like the page, and they have a whopping 12.9%. Those guys are hard to beat. They put a lot of money in it. But still, it's very impressive that they have about 13% engagement. IPM is interaction per minute, 1,000. So that's one of the things that we strive for. We recently started to only look at this number. We look at it as having a minimum of 5, and anything we think will put us under that we don't do, which is actually very good to actually say to a lot of people that work in your office or any partners that might come and ask you. Because partners have now discovered that we have a very nice Facebook page with over 500,000 people who can actually look at that. So they come to us and they say, we have 1,200 of them. So the sales department comes to us and says, like, yeah, we have this partner, and and it's about like a winter festival, and then I go, yeah, like it's July. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to work. So one of the things that we've done is to not allow any advertising on our pages. So we always say editorial trumps advertorial. If I can place a partner in context with something that works, I'll definitely do it. I know they pay the bill, so I keep them here, but they never run the show. Because one of the things that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build an audience and if I have the time, the perfect time for them, I'll put them in front of a large audience. And one of the things that we've been doing in the past was actually just sort of partner this, and nobody was responding to it because it doesn't fit with stuff that people really like to see about the destination. We don't do a lot about strategies in Amsterdam. We just sort of keep running somehow. But one of the things that we've been trying to do with social media, especially when it comes to Facebook, is we started in 2012 mainly focusing on awareness. Awareness, building a good page, a very good page, building an audience, engaging the audience, making them like the page. We did not, I don't think we ever did a campaign on Facebook asking people to like the page. I think we spent around 10,000 euros a year on event campaigning. So it had nothing to do with the original page, but we did some promotions on event campaigning. After I build awareness, I can actually create a little bit of exposure, because if I'm talking to 100 people, it really doesn't work. If I talk to 100,000 persons, it kind of makes sense. So exposure means either campaigns that we do or partners that we have. And consistently, partners and our own campaigns are the lowest scoring posts that we do. People just don't like it. It's a fact. It's a given. However, I work for a company. We have campaigns. We have partners. So I'm building up this audience so I can post some of the things that I know they're not going to like. But I'm building that audience for what we do as well. Another thing, if I actually have the time at the end of this presentation, is we started, especially last year, to do event traffic. And what I mean with that is that it's actual traffic within the city. We have a bit of a problem in Amsterdam that it's getting a little bit too busy. There are too many people that are actually in the city center, so we're trying to go out of the city, or to the outskirts of the city, or around the city. And we did a very interesting campaign in getting people to go out of the city center and go to other places. It actually worked. If I have time, I will elaborate on that a little bit more. And only now we're focusing on actually getting website traffic from our social media pages by creating custom content that we have on our website, and we share it through our social media channels. This is ultimately, social media does cost money, and I need to still convince my boss that it's worth a while. But that's why I'm also translating some of it in numbers of getting traffic to our main portal, which is one of the things that people mostly look at. Oh, here it is, open. So what happened is that we, last year we had a big, massive year, 2013. It was 400 years since they dug up those canals, and it did a lot of other stuff, so it was a very festive year. And one of the things that we organized was a live stream from the Royal Concert Hall of performances that were being held there, but that we broadcasted them to several parks throughout the city. One of them was the Buena Vista Social Club, and probably a lot of people know them. And they were performing in the concert hall, but it only has a limited capacity of about, I don't know, 500 seats. So we broadcasted it to a park, what we consider far, far, far west in the city. Nobody really goes there. And this is what happened. We did a very minor Facebook campaign. I think it cost us about 2,000 euros. Driving people, attending, alerting people that this event was taking place. And as you can see on the left, there was actually 5,000 people who actually went to the park. Normally, I would consider that 100 people might be there on any given day. And we did it actually a couple of times. So this is one of the things that we're trying to use in these capacities, but also in other capacities where if you are a destination, you have a lot of events going on, and you like to see if you can sort of get some attraction for it going on. So one of the things that we've been doing now is celebrating summer by hosting a lot of the festivals that we have in the city. We have around 400 festivals every summer in and around Amsterdam. And also one of the big events in Amsterdam is, and in the Netherlands as a whole, is King's Day. So we don't put money in it, but we just create an event that's called King's Day. We post a couple of things on it, and people actually indicate that they're going. There are 9,000 people that indicate they're going. And whether they're going or not, it's an interaction level with some of the events that we have in the city. And I think it's something that's very easily adoptable for anyone. If you are a destination, create some events, post a few details. Once you have these people in there, you can send them qualified information. Looks like the weather's going to be great, this is the program, and it really works in starting to drive actual people to these events. So coming back to this post, so why did this work? One, it's a very typical Amsterdam image. It's also nice to see the pictures from the Amsterdam Instagram lady. If you look at the pictures, I look at Amsterdam in a different way than you probably will do because I look at it every day. But if you look at the pictures, those weren't pictures that were made like glossy, nice-looking pictures. The sun wasn't shining, it was raining. That's what the real Amsterdam is like. So it doesn't. There's no sense in pretending we're a destination that we're not. And I think in the tourism and travel industry, we've been doing that for a long, long, long time, and trying to sort of look a lot better than we were. And the interesting thing is actually if we just are more like the way we are, people like us as much anyway. We actually get people that come to our destination that have a good time. We don't get people that come to our destination and think they're going to have great weather and then write a review on TripAdvisor. What a horrible experience they had because it was raining like all week. So this approach works a lot better for our destination. This works because it was fun and had a humor element in it. We tagged, I think, about 25 people in it. And as you can see, I'm not sure whether that's clear, but there's a guy called Aaron Becker. I think he tagged 10, 15 people in it, and it went on and on and on. And that's how it spreads. If you have a fun message, if you involve everyone who's been involved with the original post, because it's not ours, it's just a repost, then it actually works really well. And I think it's something that any destination can do, as long as that you keep it authentic and real, and yourself. I think that's one of the key outtakes that we've learned in the past couple of years when it comes to social media. That's it. Thank you. Any questions, maybe? Okay. Thank you.
Stairs are killer.
Thank you. So moving right along, and thanks again to Charles for such a fantastic presentation. We now want to look at the local context and look at the approach South African tourism takes in their digital platforms and their social media platforms. And South Africa is definitely one of the continental leaders, certainly from working with a lot of African destinations to looking what's happening across the continent. South Africa really has forged far ahead when it comes to use of digital, in terms of being innovative, in terms of grasping what's happening in social media and keeping themselves ahead of the pack. I think it goes beyond Africa as well, and have been placed globally in a very forward position when it comes to online marketing, digital and use of social media. The man responsible for a lot of that, you probably all know, is William Price, who's the global digital head for South African tourism. So he's going to come and join us now and talk about South Africa's digital presence. Where are you, Mr. Price? I can't see. He's very tall, but he knows to hide himself. So please welcome to the stage the South African tourism, William Price.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Should we try that again? We have adjusted the temperature, so you actually can respond a little better now, I hope. I'm starting to feel a little bit of a chill. I'm so thrilled that we could be here this year, and that things have gone from last year's really high quality to a few notches up. So I just want to thank you all for being part of this year. It's really been spectacular. And our speakers this year, Lucy, you've completely blown us all away. The speakers yesterday, I'm just thrilled that we're having a good time, and I hope it's not just me. Is it just me? Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so the title of my talk today was supposed to be this thing about rethinking our destination, and I think really the challenge for us is not just to rethink things, but really to reinvent things. And it's a really short presentation. I'm really not going to be boring you. I think when was it? A couple of years ago, we actually had a technical difficulty, and it was like a 2-minute presentation. I won't be that short this year, but I certainly hope that I'll be able to land a few points. The one big thing for me this year when preparing for this presentation was understanding that there's a lot of stuff we've been talking about over the last 5 years. The same things are being said over and over again. And what we really need to do as a tourism fraternity is actually listen to what's being said and actually start acting. You heard the minister yesterday talking about giving people free Wi-Fi. Now, for as long as I can remember, we've been asking people to give consumers free Wi-Fi. So these things keep coming back, and I really look forward to the day that, like we did before, where we said, please don't show a picture of the bed. When you have one picture to share of your establishment, don't show a bed. At least that one we parked, taken care of. Now we're starting to progress. So anyway, okay, sorry, that was just a cheap dig. Everything that drives what we do is on this slide. We've looked at social very, very closely because of the fact that travel is social, because of the fact that there's that social media revolution that's taking place that's changed everything that we know, and because of the fact that we need to do it from a digital device that's in your hand or in your pocket. We've spoken about this again for the last 3 years, but coming back to this key insight, understanding that consumers are looking for inspiration to share, the brag factor, all of the things that we heard over the last day or so, all of that comes down to understanding the insight that drives people. Forget about the technology and the platforms. We are talking about stories that are being shared and told between people. Do we understand that we have to speak their language to get them excited? We have to get them to the right place to do the things we want to do, but ultimately we have to understand that if we don't get driven by an insight, a human insight, all the databases, all of the spreadsheets, all of the numbers make no sense at all. How do we do that if we don't get away from this key thing about it being us? It's not about us. If you ask the question to some of the people who are kind of like leading and shaping thought thinking, that's a new one, sorry. People who are shaping the way that we think and we do the traditional way of marketing and how we need to reinvent that. It comes down to the key thing here, but it's not about what you want anymore. The consumer doesn't care about brand. The consumer doesn't care about hierarchy. It doesn't care about architectures. The other big thing is that if you think you have a brand, think again. You don't own a brand, you don't even manage a brand. It doesn't belong to you. It never has, and the way that we are marketing today has to fundamentally change with that key thing in mind. How did we do it for South African tourism? Well, the first thing was that we needed to take some risks. We needed to be able to make some mistakes, and most importantly, we needed to be able to let go of a lot of things. So in our social media team, we encourage people to make mistakes. We give people the opportunity to fail, but we create a space for them to be able to do it so that it doesn't become a failure. And coming back to what Lucy was saying earlier, isn't it ironic that the things that we've been taught for so long, we now have the opportunity to step aside from them and to be able to say, for us to be able to progress the way that we have done things in the past, understand that it's not going to take us to a new future if we keep doing them the way we continue to do them. With Meet South Africa, the stuff that we've learned, because of the fact that we've been bold and courageous to try something different and to actually do things that's unconventional, that's what people are celebrating around the world right now in terms of the leadership that we're showing from a destination marketing point of view. I still have these wonderful conversations with people where I'm trying to explain to them that it's not a brand that we're dealing with. We're a destination. You can't treat South Africa the way you would treat Omo washing powder. And for those of you they've just discovered another way to make Omo washing powder even smarter. But the thing about Meet South Africa is that we've come to the place where we understand that the South Africa that each of us know, each of us love, and each of us care about, with the mobile device in your hand, armed with your laptop, when you're traveling, when you're at home, when you're dreaming, when you're actually out there sharing that inspiration, you do a much better job at that than we could ever do. All we need to do is try and curate it, guide it, and to be able to stimulate it as much as we can from a DMO perspective. So what I want to show you very quickly is just some of the work that we managed to capture at the last South Africa Bloggers Conference. Remember that blogging for us is very important right now because of the fact that user-generated content is really not a buzzword anymore, but it's really the substance that's driving the social sharing that we do. Please understand that this is not the only thing we do. It's just a great way for us to be able to put it all together in a shareable format. The work that we do to support this clip is massive, and it is continuous. And it is something that we'll never walk away, not only from a monetary point of view, but from a time point of view, and to be able to show how that economy and how that sharing has actually built us into this credible brand now that is called Meet South Africa. It is only evidenced by the fact that we've got people who are passionate about South Africa and who are happy to share those good and wonderful positive things that South Africa has to offer. And it happens to be in a space where there's travel involved. So if you give me 1 minute, or I think it's 3 minutes long, we'll take a look at this clip and then I'll just give a few final remarks.
We started off in Johannesburg, which I was really happy about. I think media doesn't give Jozi any of the credit that the city should have. It's a vibrant, exciting city.
It felt like a privilege that we were there as international bloggers, but we were made to feel as welcome and as locals.
I was super amazed about the hospitality and the friendliness of the people.
And that for me is what makes a destination is the people.
It reminded me again of all the reasons why I travel. You feel so alive.
Much more than safari, and whatever type of adventure or cultural experience you're looking for, it's here.
We have the opportunity now to really co-create content like never before. And that's something that we're really embracing. And we're having fun with it. And that's important because when you have fun, that's when people can start to see passion that drives things. And we heard earlier that you can never get vision from a spreadsheet. But the kind of content that we have to share is absolutely awe-inspiring. The good stuff is absolutely fantastic. The not-so-good stuff is okay. And the stuff that really sucks, we can work with. The point is that we can do something, and we can do so much more if we choose to actually recreate this destination together. And putting everyone, like, before we remember the whole Web 1.0, Web 0.0, now we're Web, what, 2.05 or something. Those days of us controlling everything, sharing everything just the way that we want to, with the right filters, with the right styling, with the right casting, are so far behind us, but yet we continue to hang on to them. If we understand that what we can do now by co-creating, like Gareth was saying, taking those pictures from Instagram, engaging those different communities that are passionate about the things that they do, put them and guide them by getting them into a place where they can actually do the message and the storytelling for us. That's where it really becomes interesting. And if we can orchestrate those things better, whether you're an agency or whether you're Joe Public, be given there that we could never do on our own. And opening your arms, letting people participate with you, brings on all kinds of new exciting opportunities that you could never create for yourself. I like this because if we move away from the boring, the old, the stale, and we move towards what is awesome, what is truly awesome, let's get excited about what is awesome, and let's get people to define it. What is awesome that South Africa has to offer, that we can share? I think then we're going to start doing some exciting work together. And I've said it before, for us to really be able to have partnerships that work, we need people that are able to commit to things. So my plea to you today is understanding what Meet South Africa is all about and what we're trying to achieve there. Add your weight to it. We're happy to share the content, we're happy to share the opportunities, and we certainly want to be able to share the opportunity to co-create with you. So as we continue on this journey, I invite you to join us, because the destination is going to be a very exciting place when we co-create it together. The key thing that we need to understand is, as we continue to sit in rooms like these, where travel people are brought together and we talk about the things that are important to travel, other people out there are reinventing travel. That's a scary thing, because if we don't understand what those people are that are very consumer-centric, understanding what the consumers are talking about, what they want, where they are, what works for them, we miss the opportunity. I remember Damien a couple of years ago, one of his first slides that he showed that really kind of shook me was that one of the dinosaurs kind of stuck on the top of the mountain, and you can see the ark in the background floating away, and the dinosaurs are like, oh, was that today? That whole thing of evolutionary steps that get missed. In the travel industry today, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't focus on the consumer better than we've ever focused on them before, we will be an industry that gets lost, because the consumers are going to run ahead and we are going to be left behind. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you. A very long man, always a very short presentation. And for that we are grateful. As we are right on time for lunch now. So thanks. We're going to make up our time during this afternoon, so if we can head off for lunch now and try and be back here on the dot for 2. And please, during your lunch break today, there'll be someone out by the Africa Bucket stand. Please go there and make your videos to get your fans and followers to pledge for the Africa Bucket. We're going to give away another 3 bottles of champagne to people that are there making their videos, so we'll give them to the best videos that are produced. So please do that during your lunch break today. Enjoy your lunch and see you back at 2.
And I know you guys are going to the airport.